It seems that even Amazon can't get away from some of the issues around this pandemic, and even as Amazon launched 2 products this month, we've found them going in and out of stock. The first is the Amazon Echo 10, which will launch by February 25th, but you can pre-order now. However, we've seen that stock come in and out on that device. Now that's the one with the rotating display that I think just about everyone's going to be interested in, but it comes out at $250 US. The other product is a 1080p wired video doorbell from Ring, and that's actually the name of the device. It is targeting the low end of the market, right at that wise sweet spot that they have with their $50 video doorbell that is wired and out on the market today. But Ring at $60 is a major competitor instantly. We are about to go through a ton of new features and updates and new products that will work within your Amazon smart home, but today I have a product sponsor that I think you're going to be pretty interested in. I use SwitchBot all over my home, and all of their products are both unique and work incredibly well with Miss A and the whole Echo suite of products. One of the best use cases that I have is to include SwitchBot products in my morning and evening routines to make sure that things like my curtains are opened or closed and that my coffee machine is ready to go. So go ahead, click the links down below. There's a whole range of products for you to explore, and I've loved having them in my home. Now, there's also a coupon code down below for you just as an Automate Your Life viewer. If you're like me, then you're probably pretty forgetful, and I don't just mean about things like anniversaries or birthdays. I mean about events that I want to attend or remember that are going on, and I'm always trying to shove things in my brain, and what often happens is I'll remember it at one point and then I go, oh, I gotta remember that later, and then I forget when the actual event happens. And I'll give you an example that just happened to me last week actually. I was waiting for an email from a company and I needed to kind of move on something that we were working on together. Well, I looked in the morning at my email and the email wasn't there that I needed, and then I didn't remember to check again till much later in the afternoon. Well, the new feature from Amazon here and their smart speakers would have allowed me to know as soon as they emailed. Now, what you're going to be able to do with this is make a simple request, and that is to say, hey, Miss A, remind me when an event happens. And it can be everything from remind me when an email comes from this person, or it can be as simple as remind me when a show is on a connected TV service. You have national events that you can be reminded of, or things like birthdays, and then Amazon and their voice assistant will remind you at that time. Maybe you want to set a reminder for something like the honey-do list when you're getting that list from your spouse, or maybe you want to use this other new feature from Amazon, which is the ability to send your shopping list to any of your contacts inside of the communication tab here. Now, this is just a simple command again, but it would allow you to share that shopping list with your spouse. None of us want our privacy to be totally invaded, and even someone as connected as I am has to look at the privacy section or the privacy settings that I have with systems like Amazon. And actually, Amazon's done a lot of work to give us a lot of control around this very recently. Now, I've made some choices for my own personal privacy and security, and I want to share with you what I'm doing inside of the application and what my recommendations are for you. The first screen I want you to go into is actually managing your Miss A data, and there's a couple of settings in here that I think are really important. The first is whether you're going to allow the deletion by voice of recordings, and I think that's a really great one to turn on in general. It just always gives you that option, but how long to save recordings is a very interesting setting, and it's more interesting than just, oh, don't save them at all, because there's an impact to you. So if you choose don't save any recordings, what happens there is they're not gaining any history from the kinds of things you ask and the kinds of things that work and don't work with you as an automator. Now, I would say that if you're using these products on a regular basis, saving recordings for 3 months is going to be more than enough. But if you're using them very sparingly, maybe less than 1 time per day, I would save recordings for 18 months. And if you just want to manage this on your own, well, save them until you delete them, which is important with that enable deletion by voice. Now, there are 2 more sections down below: the smart home device history, and you may or may not have the detected sounds history. That's related to the Miss A guard service. When you turn that on, then you'll get that section. Now, how long you want to keep that history is up to you. These are the same sorts of questions, and specifically around the hunches service, the smart home device history might be something you want to look at keeping a little bit of history on. Down at the bottom of the page, you're going to see some other radio buttons, and this is related to Amazon using the data you're giving them, the voice recordings or messages, to improve their service. And there is manual review of certain recordings over time. So you want to think about that use of video recording or voice recordings, and you want to think about the use of messages. I've just turned those off. I don't want that occurring. Now, when you go into the next section, which is review voice history, what you'll see is a display of your use over the time period that you set, but you'll also have this ability to delete all the recordings from that time period. And this happens with the history of detected sounds and the smart home devices history as well. All 3 of those pages give you the ability to delete that history within any time period. Now, the smart home devices history is a 1-tap button for everything to go, but you'll want to look at those. And what you're seeing, especially in the voice history there, is the ability to use your voice. If you've enabled it on that other screen, you can just say, hey, Miss A, delete all recordings from today, or just delete all recordings, or from the month. Whatever you want to say, you'll delete from that time period. The last screen is very interesting to me, and I am wondering just how many of you have granted permissions that you probably aren't that happy with. So go ahead, let me know in the comments down below. But what you'll see is different skills that have access to different components of your personal information. And when you tap those little arrows, they kind of drop down into the skills you're using that use that component of your information. You can turn that off, but remember, you might break a skill. So just try it out, remove those pieces of information you don't want, and then check out your skill. The next component I want to talk to you about is something I've been waiting for a long time, actually, because I've spent a lot of my career in working with electricity and energy management in general. You'll find this new section in the devices page of your Miss A application, and what you're going to run into is called the energy dashboard. And if you don't have this, well, it's kind of a slow rollout, so I get that, and it's only available, as far as I understand, in the US right now. When you go into the energy dashboard, you're going to notice right away just some graphs and some trends, and I think this is great general information. I'll let you walk through that. But the most exciting thing to me was some of the information that was contained within here, and I'm going to quickly break down a couple of those things. There's the ability to track energy usage per device. So when you go into that, you can go into each light bulb or each device that they have tracked here, and it's really just lights for the most part right now. But what I found was Philips Hue had input on its own all of its estimated energy usage. If you don't have the energy amount, or the energy usage, it'll actually say that in the app here. So you need to put that in. That goes into the actual device settings, and you have to hit the little settings gear and then add in what the wattage per hour is for that device. But maybe even more interesting are these devices, which if you scroll all the way to the bottom, they're down there. Now, what you'll find is just an estimate of how much that device is going to use per year. And Unfortunately, there are some restrictions around them going into what's a new low power mode. That low power mode only activates if you haven't done a number of things. And you leave your home, you turn on Amazon's Guard service. Well, that's not going to allow it to go into low power mode. But the biggest one that hit me was Spotify. If you've connected Spotify to your account, none of these will go into a low power mode. The other one that caught me really quick was the Amazon Echo 4th generations. They're all the ones that can do this. But if you only have a certain range of products, that 4th generation set of products, and you don't have a little bit of an older one, none of them will go into low power mode. So it's kind of making a case for keeping around an old Echo Dot. Now, both of those components, the privacy and the energy dashboard components, I think they needed a couple of tutorials. So you're going to find links down below for video tutorials that we have on our other channel. Go check those out. Now, I want to pause here for a few moments to talk about someone who actually sent this to us. Now, this is Trelexin, is his handle here on YouTube, and he's been a big supporter of the channel. He's part of our Patreon group there. He supports us directly that way, and he's even given us ideas for content, shown us what he's doing with his home, and he's been incredible to us. And now he sent us this. And I think this is absolutely stunning. Now, the reason I'm showing you it here is because it has an Echo Dot in the back. And this is just intended to be a centerpiece. It's not really a crazy functional thing, but this is, I mean, the Echo Dot works. Don't get me wrong. It all works. And he's done incredible stuff here with, you think, running that cable out and mounting this Echo Dot in here. I just think it looks absolutely amazing. And he even created a company called Ekophonic audio. So I just wanted to show you guys this. The incredible woodworking and the incredible detail on this, I think, is unbelievable. And I can't wait to showcase this throughout my home. So thank you, Trelexin, again. Whenever I leave my home, I automatically turn on Amazon's Guard service, and this has been a welcome addition to my security system at home because it listens for different events and it notifies me. And now with the customized actions, I can turn that on automatically based on whether I'm leaving or coming into the area of my home. So that's been really powerful. And if you don't know how to do that, there's a link down below to help you get moving with customized actions. Now, the other component is the new service called Amazon Miss A Guard Plus. What that would add for you for $5 a month or $50 a year US is the dog barking sounds. Whenever motion is detected on a camera around your home, it would actually play some dog barking sounds, giving the impression that you have a dog. Now, the other thing is you're going to have the ability to trigger sirens, and you have an emergency helpline 24/7 to get you connected with emergency services. So very powerful in terms of additions. Now, something that's very interesting is that there's a few companies that say there will be the ability to integrate this service with their security system in 2021. So right now it's only available this way. We don't know what percentage of the cost would be covered by another subscription, say from Wise's new security service, but it looks like it will become an available additional feature. One of my favorite components of the new interface on Fire TVs is the quick navigation through the different apps that you're using very regularly, but there hasn't been a companion interface on the smart displays, at least not until now. What you can do is just ask your Miss A voice assistant to open Video Home. And when you do that, you're going to see not only content listed for you that looks a lot like that Fire TV stick, but you will see your different apps that you have connected that you can go directly into. And this is a great way for you to finally navigate video content on these displays. One of the latest trends that we've seen is Google, Apple, Samsung, and Amazon building their own gaming platforms. And this is because they see gaming and streaming as a major component of the future of entertainment. And I would happen to agree. Now, their smart displays can't do everything that I think they're going to require for the future, but there are more games being developed, and this new one that has Pac-Man is kind of interesting, I think, for kids.
Try saying Waka to tell Pac-Man to move to the right.
Waka. Wika Wika. Last year at CES, Amazon was all over the place, and that was actually how I made some good contacts at the company for all of the 2020 content that we put out, and actually a little bit into 2021. But one of the companies I met there was a company called iAudi, and they were making a mount with Miss A on board. Well, that mount has finally come out. Now, the Echo Auto is there, but it doesn't have a mount for your smartphone. So interesting little product for you to have a look at. Now I'm going to rip through a bunch of products that came out at CES because Amazon wasn't there, but they still have partnered with so many companies and have their voice assistant on so many new devices. Now in the kitchen, there's a couple of integrations that kind of seem a little bit silly to me, but the Albi Home M Plus, this is a wine dispenser. You can actually ask for your wine to be dispensed by Miss A here, and there's a set of Sharp microwave ovens that have Miss A integration for you to start and stop cooking as well as set the cooking time. Now, like I said, those probably aren't all that useful, but my favorite use of the voice assistant in all of CES was definitely by Kohler, and what they actually showcased was the ability from your Kohler taps to ask for exactly a cup of water. And if you don't care about that, well, clearly you've never failed at baking as hard as I have. Of course, the biggest use case we've already talked about, it's music. And what was interesting was there was a number of devices that came out that were compatible or worked with Amazon's multi-room audio. So we're starting to see the growth of that. That includes Sony's new speakers and the JBL multi-beam. This is their brand new one, the 5.0. Denon and Polk both had new versions of soundbars that had Miss A integration in the case of Denon and Miss A on board in the case of Polk. There were a number of cameras and security devices that came out, and C by GE was rebranded by Sync, and I'm just kind of annoyed, but their camera looks okay. It has a privacy shutter on it, and so does the new Arlo Essential Indoor. And then they also, Arlo actually released a touchless video doorbell, and obviously all of these are going to work with Miss A as security product. TP-Link also released a number of cameras, a couple of cameras and a video doorbell as well that came out with 1080p resolution, and you think way back to the start of this, so did the Ring video doorbell, the wired version that we talked about. The Roborock and Eufy vacuums, the brand new S7 from Roborock and the L80 from Eufy both have Miss A integration. Now I talked about TP-Link and their cameras, and they actually had a smart dimmer switch as well, and it looks like they're creating a whole smart sensor lineup as well to go into a number of hubs. But my favorite product from them was the Deco Voice X20 system. Now, this is a mesh Wi-Fi system that had Miss A right on board, gave you a Miss A speaker. I like that kind of an idea, and I like the design point, the little red base there for that mesh system. We of course saw a number of interesting lighting products that came out and are available with Miss A, including the new Nanoleaf competitors coming out from Twinkly later this year. But what you're going to want is to understand all of the CES products that came out and can really change your life in 2021. So go check out the video that's up on screen. You'll see our full walkthrough of the best things that came out from CES. Otherwise, thanks for watching today, guys. And of course, don't hate, automate.